Tupac had been sentenced to Rikers, right? He'd been sent to jail for.
He'd been sent to, at that point in time, he was at Rikers, but then he was on his way to Dannemora.
Which is a horrific place where they send terrorists.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
I think the 9/11, some of the people that were involved with 9/11 or the World Trade Center bombings were sent to Dannemora while he's in jail.
While he's in jail, what do you have here? Oh. Yeah. Now as I slip from grace and the world has turned against me, a few claim to have love for me, but once again you show your love. After deep reflection and spiritual awakening, I have come to realize the friend, love, and soulmate was there all the time. I have not seen or felt from anywhere or anyone the intensity and loyalty that you have shown me. That is why I want to commit myself to you. I want to marry you.
He sends you that letter.
Yeah, it's a much longer letter than that, but that's the words that I put in the book.
A marriage proposal.
That's while he was in Rikers, when I went to go see him in Rikers. And Rikers is actually, that's a really, Dannemora might be where they put terrorists. Rikers is like, I remember going to see him there, and he was in such bad shape, you know. And the Rikers, Rikers was bad. Dannemora, yeah, terrorists are there, but far more humane conditions than I would say Rikers.
It feels like the emotion is still right on the surface with you when you think back to these moments in your life.
Oh yeah. It feels like I just came back from seeing Pac at Rikers, and I had to leave him there. It's just like yesterday. But I'm also in a very raw place in my life right now as I'm thawing out, as I'm dismantling my defenses. You know, I call it the thaw out. So I'm in a really raw place.
Obviously, Pac he gets out of jail and Suge Knight. I mean, talking about timing, I think it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that someone's been convicted for Tupac's murder. A lot of emotions.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you heard about the conviction, or that an arrest had been made?
I was like, I was glad that an arrest had been made. Was someone who we had known had been in the car. He had done some street interviews about it, you know. And I was just hoping, I was like, well, I hope they're bringing him in because we're going to get some other questions answered. So, you know, my hope is that we'll get more questions answered.
In the book, you question, but then you confirm that Tupac knew how you felt about him when he passed away because you and him hadn't been speaking.
No.
And I think there's a really important lesson in this for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a huge fight. Huge. It was one of the biggest fights we had ever had. And it was about how he had been living, you know. And I really, at that time, you know, really had to let him know my position, that I just felt like, you know, where he was sitting with everything was just, it wasn't going to end up well. Right? And we had a magnanimous, I mean, it was just beyond the two of us, just at each other. And I was just like, fuck that. I'm not calling him this time. He's going to have to call me. He was way out of line. So I really dug my heels in the ground in regards to like, nah. You know, I let my pride, I let my ego come in. I really took for granted that he would be living forever. Like he had already survived so much. Like it never, like I looked at Pac as being invincible at this point. You know, because he survived so much, even so much that people don't know about, you know. But just like I say in the book, I'm like, man, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't hold on to like that prideful part of yourself, you know, with someone you really care about. Like, no, I mean, you know, he gonna have to call me this time. You know, it's like, no.
Was that the last time you spoke to him?
That was the last time I spoke to him. That was the last time I spoke to him. That was the last time I spoke to him. And you know what's crazy? It meant absolutely nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. And so that's the test I always have. I'm like, okay, you're in this beef with somebody. Will this beef matter on your deathbed? And then right away, I'm like, nope, let me give him a call. You know what I'm saying? That's my test.
Almost a year later, he gets shot in Las Vegas. You get a phone call while you're filming on set that he's I believe from his mother, Afeni Shakura, and saying that he's in hospital in a coma. And a few days after that, you find out that he's passed away.
Yeah, I was on my way. You know, Faye was like, no rush. He's going to be fine. He had his fiance there with him and his family. She was like, so, you know, come after your trip in New York. So I was on my way to him. And my girlfriend Fawn came to the door, and I knew as soon as I saw her face that he was gone. Oh, I know that picture. Yep, that was Thanksgiving. He came to LA to spend Thanksgiving with me. And we were at one of my friend's house.
You look like brother and sister.
Yeah, we look like brother and sister because that's what we were. Yeah, he came to Thanksgiving to spend Thanksgiving with me.
We talked about mental health earlier. Do you know how to grieve the loss of someone like that in your life?
No, I'm still working out my relationship with grief. Actually, yeah, I haven't really. Yeah, I'm still working that out.
Because this chapter of your life was loss.
Mm-hmm. Unmourned loss.
Chapter 12 of your book. I've got this other picture that I found that I thought was relevant.
Oh. Now, do you know why this is relevant?
I do. Maxine and Tupac are both in that picture.
Same picture. Do you have a tissue? Thanks. You give nice hugs. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, I lost Maxine and Pac back to back. So like to, this picture to be flanked by them. Yeah, I lost them back to back.
Maxine was a good friend of yours. Pac was your brother.
Yeah, and she was like my sister, She, I met Maxine on Jason's Lyric, and we became like super tight. And she lived in Canada, and so she wanted to come to Hollywood and make a career for herself. So I told her that she could come live with me. So she came to live with me. We feel as though she had a misdiagnosis, that she had some kind of thyroid disorder that really disrupted her psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up jumping off her mother's balcony. She committed suicide. So that was really tough.
It seems unimaginable that chapter and season of your life could be filled with so much loss and so much complicated loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because in all of these situations, as you write about in the book, there are reflections where you say in the book, if you're left with this feeling, if I'd done this, maybe I should have done it like this, or I wish I'd treat that situation differently. And hindsight, as we know, is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Right.
And I've sat here with a lot of people that have lost a lot of people by suicide, and they all have the same reflections.
Yeah.
They all have that last phone call with the person where they had to put up a boundary. And
yeah,
I've sat here even in LA in that chair with, I remember Boz, her partner at the time, calling and saying, listen, if you don't come and do this, I'll jump off this bridge. And then he does. And
yeah, it's like that existential disappointment of just life being what it is. It's like grieving. It's like she went from this like happy person to like having this condition that just, right? And so sometimes I just go, this is when I just have to like reconcile with God. It's like, wow, God, like you really be doing some stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and sometimes I get in grief around what life is. And then I have to make peace with it.
If you're thinking about your story, it feels confusing that God could seemingly hand someone so much, wonderful career, wonderful family, all of those things. But at the same time, and maybe there's a relationship between the two, because had you not come from where you came from, maybe you wouldn't have had all the wonderful things that you have. But also, had you not come from where you came from, maybe you wouldn't have experienced all the loss that you've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's a relationship between the two, because I've not experienced that loss, but I don't come from where you come from. So I didn't lose friends growing up.
Right.
I didn't lose friends in my 20s either.
Right. Having all the different experiences that I've had, as painful as some of them are, it gives me the opportunity to join people in a certain manner.
Mm.
And in really powerful places. Like I have a beautiful friendship with Lauren London, and she is the widow of Nipsey Hussle. And because of the loss that I went through with Pac, I could reach out to her And I could go, hey, anytime you need anything, anytime you need to talk, I'm here. And Lawrence, quite like me, defenses, you know what I mean? But I just kept walking closer and closer. And I just say all that to say that we've been able to meet each other in a certain place because of the type of losses we've had that can really create beautiful connection. You feel me?
I feel you.
Yeah. So there are blessings in pain. You just gotta know that to be true and wait for that door to open. You know. And that's just one tiny example of like the blessings that I've found in a lot of the loss that I've had in my life in general. You know,
there's almost an irony or a paradox in the fact that your pain caused a disconnection, but then the pain caused connection.
Deep. Because heartbreak, there's this beautiful seed in heartbreak, which is like it breaks you open. It breaks you open. And you got two places that you can go. You can go into the deep wells of darkness, or you can go into the deep wells of light. And I've been to both. And I've learned I ain't trying to be over here no more. You know what I mean? And so I always use heartbreak, discontent, pain to help me search for bright light and beautiful blessings within them.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.